We'll just be starting in a minute, everybody. Thank you for joining. Okay, so yes, let's get started. Thank you everyone for logging on, joining to the Young Coders Hackathon launch event. We just wanted to introduce and start off by saying why we started Coding Club, because as both people in the tech industry and kind of brand new into the tech industry, we found that although we found different communities, there wasn't really anything when we were younger to introduce us to coding. So like, as for me, I think I discovered coding and programming and web development and all those things when I was about 20 or 21. And how about you, Sandra?
I think I started getting into tech properly when I was at college. So I was around about like 16, but it wasn't like the it thing to get into at the time. So gradually it got to the point, so yeah.
I did just realise we didn't actually say our names, who we are,
yeah,
so you go.
So hi everybody, my name is Sandra. I am a software engineering graduate and a lead web developer at Revolt Agency.
And my name is Lola. I am a computer science student still, and also a developer. And yeah, we started Coding Club just to kind of encourage young people to get into tech, to introduce them into technology, and to let them know how fun and exciting it is. Because most young people I speak to, they're like, I can never program, I can never code, it's too hard. So yeah, that's what Coding Club is all about. And this hackathon is just to usher in some new people. We have beginners, we have people who have a little bit of experience, and we have some people who are experts, and they're all under the age of 18 who have registered to participate in the hackathon. So it's just to get them into different technologies. We're going to be doing a lot with AI, data science, and all kinds of things. So if we could go to Charlene first, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, and also maybe a bit more about your journey into technology.
Yeah, awesome. I will do. Thank you. That sounds amazing, by the way. What you're doing is fantastic, and I'm really glad that I get to be a part of it today. So thank you for introducing me. I'm Charlene Hunter, and I'm a lead engineer at a company called MadeTech, which is a software consultancy. And I'm also the founder of an organization called Coding Black Females. To give you a bit of insight into my route into tech, I suppose. So I grew up in Nottingham. And when I was growing up, I was really lucky that my parents both run different companies. So my dad has a software company and my mum's got a training company. And then through that, what I got to do was just go out and try loads of fantastic things. And also when I was at school at about 10, I discovered a computer and got to have a go at coding on that. So I got introduced to coding from a really, really young age. Yeah, like I said, about 10 years old. And through that, I got to have a go at coding, got to have a go at developing a bunch of new skills. When I was young, I had additional computers at home, so I got to practice loads of coding on that too. So I also really enjoyed maths, and I did loads of maths when I was in primary school, and then when I got to secondary school, I did a further maths and physics A-level, which were hard. They were really hard, but I loved them, really enjoyable. So then after that, I went on to university to do a maths degree and a computer science master's following that, which was really useful. So the computer science master's was essentially how I started my route into technology. So as much as I spoke about, having a go at coding when I was younger, I didn't think that was something I could do. I didn't think it was an industry that I could end up, I didn't really think of it as an industry. It was only really when I finished my master's, I then went and started a graduate role. So the graduate role that I started was at a company called BAE Systems, which is a software consultancy. And there I got to do quite a range of different types of projects and a range of different skills as well whilst I was in that. So there's the development side, but I also try to do presentations to develop my communication skills, get involved in requirements to understand how to work with users, do testing. So there's actually quite a range of things you can do in technology that isn't just coding, although coding is absolutely fantastic and I love it to bits. So it's not like it's not a good thing. So after I did, after that I went contracting. So I was at BAE Systems for 5 years, then went contracting for 5 years, which meant that I was almost in control of my own direction. So the difference between permanent and contracting is that you essentially run your own company and you work for people. They're like hiring your time. So I got to go and do that and try loads of different technologies and say what I wanted to work on and own that and start doing more side projects as well. So a lot of that was focused in the public sector. So I got a good insight into how public sector does technology. But then on the side, I developed other skills, like I started building mobile phone apps and websites and getting involved in other areas as well. And that was a time that I also set up an organization called Coding Black Females, which is a lovely organization that I love to bits, to get more Black women into technology and to support. Yeah, it's amazing that you're part of it. Yay! To support people's journeys. So that provides like free tickets for events and free training, and we run boot camps. We do a bunch of things to support people in the industry. And I think a lot of that's because I love the industry so much. Like I used to joke to my friends that on my way to work, I just wanted to skip all the way there because I loved it, and they just hated me for it. But I literally love my job. It's so fantastic. Getting to solve problems all day is really fun. And my current role, so Coding Black Females does take up a lot of my time, but I have another day job as well, which is as a lead engineer at MadeTech. And MadeTech is a software consultancy that does a lot of work in the public sector again. So I've been in the public sector for about 12 years now, but there what I do is I actually run their training academy. So they have an academy program, which is essentially for people who are entering the industry and want to have a really good start to get into tech as well. So it's a really fantastic program to run. We're actually launching soon. So if anybody anywhere is listening and they want to apply for an academy program where you get paid to learn, then MadeTech is fantastic. But yeah, it's really fun getting to get involved in technology on that side. So trying to develop people's skills as opposed to just doing it myself. It's really fun seeing it on both sides. But yeah, that's an overview of my entire career.
Amazing, thank you so much. So Laura, if you could share as well how you first was introduced into tech and then what you're doing now, we'd love to hear it.
Hi everybody. First of all, thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. I'm really excited that you are doing this. This is great. I love hackathons and community. So, well, my name is Laura. You can hear this accent because I'm originally from Argentina, South America. I'm currently living in London. I'm a software engineer, currently working for Samsung Research UK. And how I started, well, I will try to make it short, but basically I had an older brother, is 10 years older than me, and I got my first computer when I was around, let's say, 10 years old, thanks to my brother. And at that moment there was not any operating system, Windows, there was DOS, and I was trying to get into video games without asking permission to my brother. So I started to learn DOS and things like that. And I really like computers in general. Later on, I started to study coding when I was in high school. Really old stuff like Visual Basic, QBasic, and other kind of stuff, really old. And then I realized, oh wow, this is super cool. I want to continue creating things, solving stuff. And yeah, after that, I decided to go to the university when I started as a software engineer career. That I didn't finish because I started my career working really young, also when I was around 19 years old. I was working full-time already for Oracle in my home country. And then after that, always around software development, I've been working for the government, big companies like Oracle. And then after a few years, I decided to get a different approach of my career, where I left my job in the government and my home country and decided to travel and become a freelancer. So I decided to be more like a consultant, and I've been traveling and working like about, let's say, 3 years. And then currently I decided to stay here in London. My current job is a mix of doing some engineer work, solving problems, researching, and then participating with the community. Something that I really, really like. When you're working in tech, you have so many different areas that you can actually develop your talent. And I always like to teach. And actually, I'm a speaker, so sometimes I speak in conferences about different topics in tech. I'm a Google Developer Expert. That means that it's like Google certifies that you know about a certain kind of topic. Thanks to my work with the community, teaching and speaking and organizing events. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing now, and hope you can have fun during this online event.
Yes, thank you so much. So I think I would ask Charlene first, our first question, and I would say, what advice would you give to young people interested in getting into tech, but they're not very sure about the industry and they don't really have any knowledge right now?
So what I found really useful when I was quite young was asking questions. You know, be as curious as you can about different things. That curiosity is really what helps you to develop that understanding of different areas. So it's useful to speak to people if you can, if you've got different networks. So networks like this is going to work really well because you'll be able to support people in finding those people who know about the industry. So one is like find out about what the industry looks like, ask questions, be curious about it. I would also say don't be afraid of trying things as well. You know, sometimes it can seem really daunting, and you know, people say all these terms like cloud and AI and data and all these things that make it sound like it's really scary, but a lot of it is just code. And once you start doing some coding and you get comfortable with it, it's going to mean that you can do other things as well. So it's, yeah, just understand that, you know, you can try anything. Most things that you enjoy have a tech industry now anyway. So remember, there's things like gaming, there's so many other industries, there's so many ways that you can find out about, you know, use those skills and develop things as well. So don't be afraid and know that there's an industry out there that will suit you as well. Have a go at trying new things as well.
Okay. So the same question to you, Laura, like what advice would you give to young people interested and not sure about how to like go about getting into technology?
Yeah, first of all, try. You will never know if you don't try. Like, I know that maybe it sounds like something that can be hard or not, but maybe it's a career that you really like and you really enjoy. I think like everybody can learn to code. It's like learning a new language, and there's so many opportunities. And the type of job that you can do in a daily basis is pretty wild. Like you can work from a bank, fashion, a lot of different kinds of environments. So try to see what's going on in different professions. Try to join a network, a community that also share the same goals as you. When you're young, if there's another person that already had the path that you're probably thinking about, it can work so much and can be so useful to see, okay, she works in this area, she works in this job field, maybe I can learn about somebody else or anything else. So try to find your community and support, and don't be afraid to try. You will never know if you never try.
Okay, great. I'll ask the next question. Charlene, hi. So what challenges do you think there has been in the industry today?
Challenges. I always find the challenges question difficult because I don't see things as challenges. I suppose that the sorts of challenges that I do see is the perception of how accessible the industry is. It can be hard to see that there are there are ways of developing those skills. And generally, so what I hear from a lot of people who are looking for those entry-level roles is, I don't know how to even get started. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get into the industry. And I think that's a huge challenge, because that's the thing that's going to stop people from even trying to get into the industry at all. And I think that what we have to do is provide visibility of what's out there, what's available for us to learn and figure out how we can get in. So what we're trying to encourage more companies to do, for example, is run more boot camps, run more training, and get people engaged so that people can really learn different things. I would say that's a huge challenge. It's, you know, so because I get involved a lot in recruitment at the moment, what I find is that, you know, we struggle to find the skills. You've got to look in the right places. So it's about being as visible as you can, so that people can find you as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And Laura, the same question goes to you as well.
Yeah, so one of the other things that usually can sound really scary is that, okay, tech can be a super cool place to learn and start to work with, but also there's so many different areas and stages and fields that you can actually develop your skills. At the very beginning, if you're not sure, try different areas. You can be coding as somebody else that is a tester, or a different type of scenario into tech, but also try to focus into something in particular, because that will give you the expertise. Sometimes when we are trying to learn, of course, tech, you don't stop learning. It's like there's something new every day and every month. It can be a little bit overwhelming. But if you focus into just one thing, it can be front end, it can be JavaScript, it can be Python, whatever that thing you are interested, you're going to have a better focus and a roadmap to develop.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I think this is around about our last question, I believe.
I've got something else to ask, because I was thinking about how I got into tech, and then there's like the developer, the programmer joke, like Hello World. Everyone's first program that they write is Hello World. But thinking back, actually, when I remember like going on social media sites when I was younger, things like MySpace and Pixo. I know probably the people who are under 18 watching don't know about these social media sites, but you had to sometimes, if you wanted to create something, you had to code, but we didn't actually know it was coding. So I do wonder, do you guys have any memories of like using something before you actually knew what it was, whether it's coding or just being able to change something on a computer, that kind of introduced you to like the back end of how to do things before? Like, do you have any memories like that from the past?
I would definitely say, yeah. So I said that I started coding when I was about 10. I didn't know I was coding. Like, I don't know what I thought I was doing. I thought I was just playing with a computer. So I used to, I think a lot like Laura, we probably were both doing stuff in QBasic and Basic at the very beginning. And so when I was coding in that, I was writing programs that would talk to me. So I would make it request an input, and then conditionally it would give me different responses depending on what the input was, for example. So I was making little, essentially like mini chatbots that weren't really chatbots, but it felt like a chatbot when I look back at it. So that was a time when I didn't really know that I was coding. I had no idea that's what I was doing. I was just playing with a computer. And I think that I don't really think I thought about anything in terms of coding until I got a lot older. And I look back and I'm like, hang on a minute, I was coding all that time. Like all those times that I was making a website for somebody, that was coding. It wasn't just having a go at putting something together. So yeah, definitely. I think until I got to work, I probably didn't realize that I was coding a lot of the time.
And Roy, do you have like any of the same experiences?
Yes, actually, when I was young and I was trying to use my brother's computer, there was no Windows or anything like an operating system with a mouse or nothing like that. So I was using DOS, and basically I was using instructions to actually make the computer do what I want. And I didn't realize till I went to high school and proper doing like your first Hello World or any other programming languages that actually, oh wow, I was given instructions to the program just to go and use my brother's computer. So yeah, that's when I realized that I started to code even earlier than I thought. Again, it's just about being curious, try, and don't ask permission to your brother to use a computer.
That's very true. Even just going off what you just said, I wanted to know what languages do you guys program in now? Because I think, you know, like when you go on the internet and it's like, okay, JavaScript, then React Native, then Redux, there's a lot of frameworks. And if you're a beginner, it seems like maybe there's a lot to learn. So if you can maybe share like what languages you guys program in, what frameworks you guys use now, and maybe like, I don't know, what you think, is there like a level of difficulties to other languages more than some, or like, what's your opinion? Maybe Charlene first?
Yeah, sure. So the language that I've used the most over the last 10 years has been Java and C#. I also use JavaScript quite a lot, so which has enabled me to do things in Angular, React, which are two like front-end frameworks. I also do database-related things as well, so Mongo, DB, which is again JavaScript, and SQL is something I've used quite a lot, so that's a database. SQL, I don't know what the S stands for. It's a querying language anyway. Structured query language, there we go, to access databases. And so the first thing that I learned properly that wasn't basic when I was a lot younger was Java. That's what they teach in a lot of universities. And that gave me a really good insight into how to use Java, I suppose, like into that language. After that, all the other languages that I've done have really been very similar. They felt very similar to that. So C# is very similar to Java. JavaScript has similarities to Java, so they're all C-based languages. So they're the languages that I have used the most. I think that in terms of difficulty, a lot of people do find that Java is quite difficult because it's what we call like object oriented. So you have to think about it in a slightly different way, whereas JavaScript is a really good entry point and then has a lot of similarities to a lot of these other languages. Normally what I would suggest is when people are learning a new language, understand what the concepts are, and then essentially you're just translating it into different languages as you go through. So if you understand those concepts, then when you're learning new languages over time, that translation gets a lot easier. If you know that you've just done a for loop, then you just need to look up how to do a for loop in new language, as opposed to, oh, I've got to learn this whole new language and I don't know how to do it. It becomes a lot easier when you know how to translate things between different languages. So yeah, I think that's what I would say. The one I use the most, Java, that's my baby. That's the one I love. I prefer C# because it's more fun. And JavaScript, I think, is a good entry point to get into the industry.
And Luhu?
Yeah, so in my personal background is JavaScript. I've started to learn QBasic, then I continue Visual Basic, and then a little bit of backend, everything database oriented. But since that, I've been working in the web, and everything was around JavaScript. Till the point that now I'm a developer. I work in the engineer part and developer relations part of the web. So maybe when you're working with JavaScript, this is my personal advice, and you are interested into get into the industry, a good way to start is HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript. Don't be afraid about so many frameworks. There are so many, but before thinking about frameworks, think about JavaScript, how it works and how it looks like. And because frameworks are changing the whole time, and especially not now that many, but before it used to. That's why in my current job, most of the examples that we do when we work with the developer community is just basic JavaScript. We're trying to use not any framework, so it can extend and feel useful. It doesn't matter the trends of JavaScript. And besides that, besides the language, try also to check how pseudocodes and algorithms work. It's good to exercise your brain, your logic, and check how you can solve a problem. And then translate that into a language. Actually, at university or even in my high school, the very beginning, before even touching the computer or sending instructions, you have to throw some logic, if not, and things like that. And that was for me really useful. I think there are cool books around that. So I think you can mix a little bit when you are starting to learn algorithms, and then go through any language. But of course, JavaScript, I even have a picture with Brendan Eich, that is the one that created JavaScript. That kind of nerd. So yeah. It gave me a lot of food during the last 10 years that I've been working in tech. So yeah, JavaScript is my passion.
Yeah.
If we check them out.
So if you have any questions, so somebody asked, are there any other opportunities you would recommend young students who honestly want to make a genuine career in computer science or coding, or any other events that will allow us to network with others in similar situations? I don't know if you guys know of any other kind of communities. So I know we have Coding Black Females and other communities that young students can connect with.
Absolutely. So one that I know about is Coders of Colour. So they run a lot of events and a lot of workshops for people to learn new skills. There's also Academy Achievers as well. They support people to get into the industry and to learn new skills. So that's for young people too. There's also another fantastic group called Girls into Coding, and obviously that's for girls, but what they do is they run workshops every month, I believe, where you can do some coding on a microbit and build a bit of a robot, essentially, and they'll send you some hardware out that you can then do some coding on, and then you send it back. So it's really fun to get involved in that as well. But they're three that I can think of.
Okay, great. I think
Yeah.
Laura, how about you?
Yes. Well, of course, I can recommend the one that I'm really active with. The ones that are called GDG, Google Developers Group. You can, even if you are new in the industry, right now we are living in particular situations, but they even have online events where you can hear a speaker, where you can have some of the latest trends around the industry and learn, and also you can interact with other people that maybe can be really helpful, or maybe you can find a mentor there. And another community that I'm also pretty active is Women Tech Makers. That's a worldwide community to encourage women in tech. So I think that there are so many. That's the one that I can think most. But right now, I really suggest to start looking what's going on, even in Meetup, Eventbrite, or even in whatever city you are in. Try to connect with other people to make community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our last question.
So, what is a positive impact being in tech? How has tech really pretty much impact your life in a positive way?
Laura, if you can let us know first.
Well, because that's a nice question in terms of my personal background. Technology changed my life in so many ways, and there are so many people that sometimes, oh, maybe your work is a little bit boring or whatever at all. There are so many opportunities. Thanks to working in tech, I met amazing people. I travel around. I had many opportunities, but the best one is that I advocate to use technology for good. For example, my latest project was to help having funds for a United Nations project. We also been working with the World Food Program related with the United Nations. So that the power that gives you technology to create cool things, to solve problems, it's amazing because you can make a huge impact in your community, and why not maybe worldwide. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. Don't be afraid, and yeah, start to learn technology now.
Charlene?
So for me, it's the community element. So I love technology. I love coding. I love it. That makes me really excited. But what makes me even more excited is the community behind it. So what I found with the tech community is that everybody wants to support everybody else's learning, and they want to support everybody else's development. And you could be part of a network, and then you decide to create your own thing to try and build up more people, if you know what I mean. And that's absolutely amazing. So I think the community side is fantastic. And as much as we're in difficult times at the moment, we're all living in this remote world, but we're actually, as Laura said, like, it can be global. We can do so many things on such a large scale now that it's absolutely amazing. And for me, I think that's what it is. It's the impact that it's had on me, like being involved in so many communities and seeing so many people develop. That's what gets me really excited now, on top of like coding. I love coding, but that's what it does. That it really gets me going. And then so I would say that, be excited about this community, because it's one that it wants more people in it. It wants people to join, and it wants to nurture those people that are in it as well. And there are so many people out there trying to do amazing things, which I don't know if it's there in other communities. I don't know if it's there in other industries, but it's definitely there in the tech community, and it's fantastic. So yeah, that's what I would say, that the actual community of tech has impacted me so positively.
So I would ask the same question to you, Sandra.
Wow. I think if I wasn't in tech, I actually don't know what I'd be doing with my life, to be honest. Like, when you grow up and you're always like, oh, okay, your parents want you to be a doctor and things like that, and it's not the thing for you and things like that. And I kind of think I had like the boldness to very much tell my parents no in that sense. And if I didn't, like, I wouldn't be where I'm at the moment. Like, I love helping people and like being a part of communities and things like that, but there's other ways to do it. And I realized that in tech, that's kind of like the main place to go. And like, it's weird because when you're in this industry, and when you start from young in this industry as well, you don't realize the complete utter impact you can like have on people's lives later on. Like, I didn't even believe that like the tech industry can get this huge, this vast, this like crazy place where everyone kind of relies on like technology to get from their day to day. And just in general, I think it's the feeling of actually like being part of like products and other services and things like that makes a real impact in everyone's individual lives. So, yeah.
So for myself, I would probably say the same. I think it's the creative side of technology. So I know when people look at it and they start hearing about binary and functions, it looks very technical, but there is quite a beauty, I feel like, in being able to like write your code and then have this product at the end of it. And then yes, of course, community I think has been the most amazing thing for me. I wanted to be a lawyer before. Oh my god. I don't know what I've been doing there. But when I was chasing that, there was a community, but it's very different. I feel like even just like you get to a point when you're programming and you realize that no matter what, you're always going to need help. You can always ask for advice, but people are always very, very open, which is not something I found anywhere else. So I think that's the positive effect it's had on me, and it's made me more of a community person myself. So yeah, it's great. I love tech. I hope everyone else watching is gonna love it as well.
Exactly, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We completely appreciate you, Charlene and Laura, for joining us on our little adventures for the next 2 weeks. In general, what's going to happen next, we are going to, for those who have registered for our lovely 2 weeks hackathon, we are going to send out the rules and the terms and conditions of pretty much everything We've got some exciting things coming up as well, as we did say before, with different workshops and other speakers as well within the 2 weeks. We just want to make sure that everyone that's joined the hackathon gets a whole entire experience, like a wide experience of everything that they can get in tech as well. Don't want to limit it to like just the one section. So we're making sure that like we do that in the best way possible. So yeah.
So if you're not already, follow us on Instagram, Coding Club LDN, and join the Discord channel. The link is on our Instagram.
Yep.
And yes, thank you so much, and it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. So yes, I think time to log off and say bye, and thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for speaking, and yeah, it's been amazing.
You guys have been great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.